Hey guys, it's Loves to Loom here, and today I'm going to show you how to create my new Ringside Hoopla bracelet. And I first want to say thank you to Rob from Justin's Toys, as well as my good friend Suzanne at Crazy Just Might Work on Instagram. They both had given me some name suggestions, and I combined them, which came out with the Ringside Hoopla name. So thank you so much, guys, for helping me. Back to the bracelet. I really don't know which side's the front or back. You can wear it on both. It is reversible. But I thought I'd start on this side to show you just a couple different color combinations depending on how you lay the bands. Will give you different looks. So this is the one that I'm going to show you today, except different colors, but with the one side on the left and one side on the right. So, you do not have to have the rings out like this, but I pull it like that at the end. I just think it looks better. So there is one variation, or well, three variations, obviously. And then here's the other side, front or back, I don't know. So, oh, forgot the third one. This one is only a little piece. I didn't make the whole one. But so here's this side. So they definitely have two completely different looks as far as the middle goes. And the middle bands here can actually be a different color, as you can see on here and here. So there's a lot you can do and play with. But to make this bracelet, it does take about 150 bands depending on your wrist size. And without wasting your time any further, let's get started. To make this bracelet, you need 2 looms, 1 C-clip, and your hook. If you only have 1 loom, you can still do this. You will need to make an extension, but make sure you have it set up in a stagger position, and you would want 1 loom in front of the other like so. Now I'm going to use blue jelly for my border bands as well as the middle border band, which is kind of hidden. I'll show you real quick. I used all white on this one, but I have the white peeking through there and then the white border. So I'll be using blue for that. And then on this one, I had the white in the middle, and then I did the rainbow effect on the outside. So whatever color you're going to use for that middle, which is what I used white on this bracelet, is what you're going to grab right now. So grab 2 of those color bands, and we're going to just lay them on this first pin, and we're not going to mess with them for now. That's for closing the bracelet. Now grab that same color, but just grab 1 single band this time, and we're just going to lay that forward. Now we're going to start laying our pattern out. So basically we're going to be making X's, but we're going to lay the left side and then the right side. So I'm going to grab my red, which is going to be, my red will always be on my left. So you lay 1 going down and then 1 going up to the left. Grabbing my next color, I'm going to do the same thing, but on the right side. So it's basically going to make that X shape like that. And now we're going to grab another one of our border or middle border bands, whatever you want to call it, and lay that forward. So we're going to do that all over again. You always starting on the left. Again, I'm always going to use red. And then you grab your green, and we do the same thing on the right side. So basically, you're like making sideways V's. Then we're going to lay our blue again. Then our red. And then our green. The only thing I would say to pay attention for is to make sure that they're nice and straight and not like all overlapping, because it is very important that they are not overlapping for the looping process. So this part's pretty easy. You just lay your middle color forward, and then we lay our sideways V to the left and then to the right. And then the middle again. there's definitely a lot of color possibilities with this bracelet. And I have the Ringside, I'm so tired, guys, sorry. The Ringside Afghan, which is like the humongous version of this, which has a lot of combinations you could do. So I'm very excited to see what a lot of you guys do once I get that one filmed. But I wanted to do this one first just so people can get used to the looping process, because for the big one it is quite hard in my opinion. It's just like tedious. So I'm kind of just not really explaining, because I did explain it a few times and I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory. Just make sure that you don't, just make sure you don't lay that middle band until you have both sides laid out. So you want a full X before you lay this blue band, because I know I did mess up a few times doing that. And what I mean by that is I would lay my V and then I would lay the blue, and you don't want to do that. You have to have both sides done first. Now for my wrist size, I'm using 2 looms, but I stopped about, I think it was like 4 shy, and I count from the middle. So I should have 4 empty pins at the top to fit my wrist size. And I'm about like a 6 to a 7 inch wrist. So just keep doing that until you reached the top of the loom. Whoops. So I'm just going to go off camera real quick and get the rest of my X's laid out, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I did go ahead and finish laying out all of my X's. So if you are making it the same size as mine, you will have 4 pins with nothing attached to it for the counting in the middle, and then 5 on the right and left side. So you should have your last band placed would be that blue or whatever color you're using in between. So that does come out a little farther than your sides. So I did cheat and went ahead and pushed all my bands down already. So make sure that your loom looks like this, and go ahead and get your bands pushed down so that you have more room for our next layer. So if your loom looks like this, we're going to go ahead and start laying the border or perimeter of our bracelet. So I am just going to stick with the blue jelly like I said in the beginning. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to lay one out to the left and the right. Doesn't really matter which way you go first. And now we need to just go all the way up both sides. Super duper easy for this part. It's just a single chain going all the way up. And just do that on each side. I'm going to kind of just go like back and forth for the sense of, or for the sake of the video. But you can do the whole left and then the whole right. It really doesn't matter. Whoops, whoops, and whoops again. And I'm all out of view, sorry. So you're just going to do this all the way up until you reach the very last X. And then you can wait for me at the end, or if you are an advanced loomer, you'll probably know that we have to bring the end into the center. But I will show you what I mean when I get there. Sorry about getting in your view. If anyone knows of a software or app that I can get to for editing my videos to be able to like fast forward, please let me know in the comments because I have not found one. Okay, so when you get to the end here, you're just going to bring the left into the center and the right into the center like so. Then we're just going to push all of your bands down, because we have a lot of looping to do. So go ahead and push all your bands down, and I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, so I did turn my loom around. I have all the rest of my border bands laid, and the last band that we want to lay is on the very front center one with the same color as your border band. We're just going to add a cap band onto that first one. Once you have done that, we can go ahead and start looping. So the very first thing we're going to do is push back our cap band, grab the very top band, and we're going to bring that back to the left. Go back in, grab the next band, and bring it out to the right. Go back inside that cap band, and bring the middle one forward. Now what we need to do is bring out our X's back to themselves. So you're going to go in the middle here, inside that blue cap band, and you're just going to push it back and bring the green back to itself. And you're going to do the rest for the remainder of them. So there should be 4 of them coming back to themselves. Like so. Once you've brought them out to themselves, we need to now bring these 2 vertical bands forward. So there should be, I believe, 3 bands. Yes, there are 3 bands on top of that band. So just push those top 3 bands out of the way. It can be a little tricky because they're the same color. Grab that vertical band and bring it forward. Do the same on the left side. Push back the top 3. Grab your vertical band and bring it forward. Just make sure you're not grabbing any other bands with it. Once you've looped those forward, we now need to come back to these 2 pins and grab the bottom band, which is right here, and bring it forward. So we need to go, I always start on the left, and it's important that you stay with the same side because the green will always be on the bottom. So I'm going inside, I grab that bottom band, and we're bringing that to the center. We need to come on this side, do the same thing. We're going to push back the top 3 and grab that bottom red. Bring it up and to the center. Now we're going to go inside those 2 bands, grabbing the middle band and bringing that forward. Once you bring the middle band forward, that's basically the start of your pattern again. So push down these 2 sides because we need room. And now we're going to loom out our X again. So going inside this blue cap band here, and just start looming out all 4 of your bands. Like that. Once all 4 of your X bands are loomed out, we need to bring these vertical bands forward again. So get inside this pin here. Now I believe there's 4 bands there's going to be 4 bands going forward on these pins. So push all those bands back. And just as a little tip, because there are a lot of bands on there, sometimes it's a little tricky and this bottom green band gets in the way. If you kind of put your hook in towards the center, it gives a better grasp on that band. And then on the right side, come towards the left, towards the center, when you push back your bands, and it just makes it a little bit easier. Like so. Once you've looped that forward, you need to come back to these pins directly underneath of those, and we have to bring the bottom bands to the center. Now on these pins and going forward, there will be 2 bands that we're bringing to the center. The first time there was only 1, but now there will be 2. So push back all the top bands, and basically we're just grabbing the bottom bands of the bands that we brought from these pins. So it's one of the bottom bands from the bands that were here and the one that we brought in from there. So push them all the top bands back and grab those very 2 bottom ones and bring it into the center. We're going to do the same thing here on the right side. And you want to be careful not to go too far in because you don't want to accidentally push that other band. See, right now you only see 1 and you need to be grabbing 2 like that. So grab those 2 bottom bands and bring it to the center. And sorry for my hands all up in the camera. Once you've brought them back to the center, we can do the last step of this one, grabbing the middle here and bring it forward. So now we're going to do that again. So we need to push these down a little bit to give us some room. Going inside this cap band, and we're going to loom out our X again. So bring out all 4 of your bands. And now we need to loop our border vertical bands. Bringing those forward. Once you bring those forward, remember you have to come back to these pins, and we're going to loop the bottom bands into the center. So push back the top bands, grabbing those bottom 2, and bring it to the middle. Do the same on the right side. Now we're going to go in the center, grabbing that middle blue band and bringing it forward. Now I like to count, and I count in my head. Basically there is a total of 9 steps to complete one whole section. So looping that middle one forward would have been our last step. So now we need to do our X again. So I count, I go, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now bring our vertical bands up. 5, 6. Now bring back to the middle. 7, 8, and then 9 would be bringing the middle here forward. Oops. So hopefully that can help you guys out a little bit. I know it helps me. So I'm just going to kind of keep on looming out, and you guys can kind of follow along for a moment. Let me change my camera angle a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see a little better. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And sometimes this band right here will fall into the middle there. For this particular bracelet, it really doesn't matter. Like once these centers are looped, it doesn't matter if that pops off, just so you know. But yeah. So now we do that all over again. And I know it's a little confusing, but I've made this a lot of times by now, so hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. Whoa. I know the hardest part for me was I kept wanting to loom these up before I brought out my X. So just make sure you're paying attention to what order you're, looping. See, I just accidentally popped that off, but it's really, excuse me, it's really okay. It wouldn't hurt the bracelet because that's part of the design, but in my Ringside Afghan bracelet, that would matter. It can't come off. It would actually mess up the design. So I'm going to do this one more time. So remember, loom at all 4 of your bands or your X bands. And now we want to loop up our side border band. Make sure you're not getting any other bands. Now go back inside the pin and grab the bottom 2 bands. Bring them to the center. And then bring that middle one forward. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the length of my loom here. Just go ahead until you get up here to the top. Once you bring all 4 of them out, just wait for me and I'll show you what to do. Okay guys, so I have loomed up to this point so far, so I'm at my last X. So I just loomed up the middle here. So I'm going to start my last pattern here. So you do exactly like you were doing before. I'm going to loom out my last X. And now we're going to do our vertical bands, bringing them forward, just like you were doing before. Now bring your center or bottom bands into the middle. like so. And now we're going to bring this middle band forward. And now we're going to bring these blue bands forward as well. The left side and then the right side. If I can get a hold of it. Like so. And then just like you were doing before, we're going to grab the bottom band, but this time there's going to be only one that we're bringing up into the center. So just push back that top band here, grabbing the bottom band from in there, and bringing that to the top center pin, and do the same on the right side. So I'm going to move that red, grab the bottom, and bring that forward. Once you've done that, we have two bands that we had placed here before. You're just going to grab one, or grab from the back here, both of the bands, and then just push inside all the bands on that top pin, grabbing a hold of those two, and you're just going to bring them up and off the pin. It's a little tight, and I'm losing focus. There we go. Have it on your hook, and then with your other hand, place the other two on the hook. Now these 4 bands is what we are going to place our C-clip onto. So I'm actually going to slide my finger on. I'm using a monster tail hook because it's bigger, but you can use a regular one. I don't know if I said hook or C-clip, but if I said hook, I meant to say C-clip. And just push that on. Make sure you get around all of those bands. And now you can just like pull it straight up to take it off of the loom. I use my hook to get a couple off, just to kind of get it started, and then I grab the bracelet and just pull up like this. You may have to shimmy it a little bit. Well, I just pulled my loom apart. Sorry, you can't really see this part. Okay. And then stretch it out. Let me just fix my camera. Okay, I wanted to fix my camera angle. So you just want to just give it a nice big old stretch. This is how it looks before I clip it. And then coming down to the other end, you have the cap band in the middle. You just put your finger in and attach like so. Now you can just wear it like this if you'd like, because it's still super cute. I love how it looks with the one color on one side and one on the other. Personally, I just think it looks cool. But you can do it how you like. And then here is how it looks on this side. So it looks good without the rings also. But what I do is, I'll just do it from this side. With the side that has like the, I guess, arrow looking things, you want to grab the band that's sticking out and you just pull it like this. And that is how you get the hoop look. You just grab each one, and it does make your bracelet a little bit tighter. So it will actually like shrink it a little bit. That's actually why I left 4 pins, because if I do not pull the bands like this, it actually wouldn't fit me. It would be a little bit small. I mean big. So yeah, just go all the way around like that and just pull it out like I'm doing. So I just went off camera to finish doing it real quick. But when you're done, you do want to stretch it out a little bit, because some may be like out a little more than others. And just play with it a little bit just to make sure that all the rings are even. But that is how it looks with the rings pulled out. I like it. I think it gives it kind of a different look. But it's definitely up to you on what you prefer, especially if you wear it on this side. I think it looks better with the rings. But if you like this video and bracelet, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button below. It would really help me out a lot, and I would greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. You can keep up with all of my new designs coming out. So, yeah. If you do make this bracelet, tag me on Instagram at Loves2Loom. I love seeing your take on my designs, and I'll see you all at my next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.